What's up, everyone? It's a Whiffy here at Blue Unicorn Gaming, and I can't wait to go over these relics with you. Today, we have a special 2 relic video. This video is going to be about not only Blood Drinker, but it will also be about Coldheart. So in this video, we're going to be going over all the skills for both Blood Drinker and Coldheart for you. If you want to see more, go ahead right down below and hit the subscribe button and hit the like button for me. It'll really helps me out here. It'll also keep you up to date on the next videos on Relics and future Torchlight 3 content. If there's any specific builds you guys want to see or any other content or really anything at all, please write down in the comment box down below and let me know what your thoughts are, what kind of videos you'd like to see about Torchlight 3 or even any other ARPGs. I love playing these games. I've played them for a while, and I really can't wait to make more videos on them, especially as they go forward, not only with Torchlight 3, but with other games out there too. I haven't decided where I'm going to go next, but I'm really leaning towards Grim Dawn. Started playing it about 4 years ago, and I love the game. I haven't beaten it yet, so maybe that'll be my next stream. Who knows? But with all of that out of the way, I want to thank you guys again for coming to my channel, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. But you know what? Let's go ahead and let's just get on into this video, and we'll start off the right way with Blood Drinker. I want to remind you guys that all the skills over here on the left and all the skills over here on the right are both related to your character that you choose and not your relic. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into Blood Drinker. A little bit of overview of what Blood Drinker is as a class, with a little bit of an overview about what Blood Drinker is as a relic, and then we'll dive into it with a little bit of an overview on what Blood Drinker is as a relic class, and what its strengths are, what its weaknesses are, and what it's meant to do. We'll start off here with an overview on what Blood Drinker is as a relic. Blood Drinker is a relic that allows you to cause bleeding to your enemies and heal you based on damage taken by your enemies from your bleed, as well as giving you defenses through shields and other abilities. Blood Drinker is a healing class for your character. Blood Drinker allows you to heal based on the bleeding done on your enemy, as well as giving you some minor shielding. Your very first ability here, as I talked about in the last video, each ability is broken up into different level restrictions. Level 1 in row 1. Row 1 is for level 1, level 5 for row 2, 10 for row 3, 15 for row 4, and 20 for row 5. Please note that you cannot in any way get these abilities at an earlier level. You must be at those levels in order to unlock each of these tiers. But with that, let's get into each. The first skill you have here is Spinning Blade. This summons a blade at your location that will deal weapon damage and cause the enemies to bleed for 45% over 3 seconds. Because it's an active skill, it has tiers. These tiers increase the abilities of the active skill as well. The first tier gives you a 10% additional chance to trigger Spinning Blades when hit. The second tier allows Spinning Blades to hit the target area 3 times instead of 1. And the third tier reduces the overall relic energy cost by 25%. The next ability you have here is Bloodletter. This is a passive skill. Every single row has both an active and a passive skill for you. The active skills have 10 points that can be allocated, where the passives are only 5. Bloodletter allows you to increase your bleed chance on a target by 5% per point spent. This equals up to 25% and gives you a high chance to cause your enemies to bleed by 50% for 3 seconds. Your next skill gives you this passive ability, Blades for Cutting. This requires a sword to be equipped, and this gives you a chance to summon a death blade around you, dealing 150% weapon damage for 6 seconds. This is a passive and will increase your basic attack damage up to 50%, 10% per point spent, increase relic generation while doing basic attacks by up to 25%, and increase the chance to spawn the death blade by up to 10%. Your next ability is Bloodseeker, and it is an active ability. This ability drains your relic energy as you use it. So while this ability is active, you're using your relic energy and dealing 80% weapon damage by conjuring blood missiles. When active though, your allies get 25% more damage and restore 10% max HP per second. Because this is an active ability, you get tiers. Your first tier, blood missiles now will heal you for 5% of your total health on hit. The second tier reduces the cost by 25% relic energy, which is massive help. These active abilities that are consistently draining your energy. And the final tier, tier 3, you fire twice as many blood missiles, which is a massive amount of damage coming out. Your third row here, you get the ability Living Barrier. This creates a massive barrier around you that reduces incoming damage by 50% and heals you for 20% of your max health for 3 seconds. I love this ability. This ability gives you a lot of diversity and a lot of ability to really take on those big waves, especially as a melee. Your first tier, because this is an active ability, again, you get tier bonuses. The first tier knocks your enemies back when you use it. The second tier increases the duration by 25%, and the third tier triggers an explosion around you for 150% weapon damage when the barrier ends. All this while increasing the healing done by Living Barrier. Your next ability is a passive skill. Whenever you land a bleed on an enemy, you have a 5% chance to make them explode for 45% weapon damage in a small area. The chance to rupture can increase up to 25%, meaning you should hit this every 1 in 4 bleeds. This is a great ability, especially if you can hit multiple targets and cause them to bleed and cause them to also rupture on hit. In your fourth row, you have a passive here called Bloody Chalice. This causes you to have a 2% chance to drop a Bloody Chalice, which heals you for 30% of your total health and grants you 2% damage reduction for 8 seconds every time you collect it. The chance to drop can increase up to 10%, and the damage reduction can increase up to 10%. This ability could be massive for you, especially if you're dealing massive AoE damage and killing multiple enemies at once. Couple Bloody Chalice with the prior ability Rupture, and you really have a strong passive coming off. Your next active ability in the fourth row is Drain. This steals life force from enemies, dealing 225% weapon damage as physical, and it heals you for 3% of your max HP per enemy hit. This does cost you 25 relic energy though. Now please note, it is not 25% relic energy, it is 25. So you won't be using a quarter of your relic energy just to use it, you'll only be using 25. Now I want you to note something here, max HP and total HP. In the prior ability we talked about total HP. In this ability, we're looking at max HP. What this means is this is the maximum HP that your character currently has, and that is how much you'll be healed for at 3%. The prior ability, your total HP, that is your current total, the amount that you're left with. So if you are at 1,000 health and you're down to 500, it would only give you health based on 500, not 1,000. For this, will give you health based on 1,000. Because it's an active ability, you do get tier bonuses. Tier 1 is 3% more healing per enemy hit with Drain. Tier 2 fires a blood-seeking missile on activation. They'll do current skill damage. And Tier 3, Drain fires a second time shortly after the first. It's huge. That second time is a massive amount of damage. And can heal you in a pinch too. In your final tier here, your first active skill is Dance of Death. This will spawn a blade around you, slicing enemies at 340% weapon damage, physical damage. The blade lasts for 6 seconds. It can only be used after spending 200 relic damage. It can only be used after spending 200 relic energy. Now what this means is that you have to use 200 relic energy in a row in order to cast its ability. It won't become active until you've spent that 200. Now, using other relic active abilities, this should be no problem, especially if you have a lot of enemies around you or in a big boss fight. Tier 1 causes Dance of Death. You have a large bleed around you on activation for the current skill damage for 3 seconds. Tier 2, Dance of Death duration increased by 50%. That's huge. In Tier 3, Dance of Death spawns 2 more blades. Hey, can't have enough blades, can you? Your final ability, the Energizer. All this passive does is increase your relic energy charge rate. It'll increase it up to 25%. And with that, guys, that is Blood Drinker. But wait, What am I doing? Didn't I promise you a second one? Well, if all you came here for is to hear about Blood Drinker and hear what it does and what its skills do, this is your point to go ahead and jump off the video. But if you want to stick around because maybe you're not sure what your relic could be, or maybe you just want to hear what they all are, maybe you're also just a little bit curious, then stick around because we have Coldheart now. Coldheart is a much different relic than Blood Drinker, and if you're really interested in Blood Drinker, I think that especially if you like ranged characters, that you're going to like Coldheart too. What do we say we take a look at it, shall we? Coldheart! Now, Coldheart, guys, this is the kind of relic you want to have as a ranged character. Now, this could be used with Dust Mage or Sharpshooter. It works with the other classes too, but really, you're looking at crowd control, you're looking at slowing, you're looking at knockbacks. Dusk Mage and Sharpshooter are optimal for this. Sharpshooter being number one optimal due to its synergy with ranged weapons. As I said during the Blood Drinker video, each of these rows is unlocked at various levels. The first is unlocked at level 1, the second is level 5, then level 10, level 15, and level 20, respectively. Now with that, let's just go ahead and dive on into what each of these abilities does and what might suit your needs best now that you understand what each are. The first one, you have your passive Jagged Ice. This can have a chance to chill your enemy on hit or when hit, but when hit for 2% and on hit at 5%. This can increase up to 10% when hit and 25% on hit. It allows them to slow down so you can get a couple steps back on them and continue doing damage without having to worry about being attacked. Your first active ability is called Ice Shield. This transforms your skin into ice for 5 seconds, preventing the next 3 sources of damage. Ice Shield also fires icicles at nearby enemies, dealing 200% weapon damage as ice. Because this is an active ability, you'll get tier bonuses. The first tier, 50% ice barrier duration. Second tier, icicles now pierce enemies, which means it goes through all armor. And tier 3, your pet also spawns icicles. That's pretty cool knowing your pet can also spawn icicles. Makes your pet a lot more damaging, doesn't it? The second tier, you have another active ability here called Frost Blast. You fire a wave of icicles, dealing 300% weapon damage as ice and chilling enemies for 6 whole seconds. You'll be able to increase the damage of this as you rank it up. And tier 1 of this, Frost Blast icicles break on impact, hitting enemies behind the first enemy struck. This means if you have a line of enemies, you're hitting people right behind them every time you use this ability. The second tier, Frost Blast now freezes enemies for 1 second. This stops them right in their tracks so you can really lay on the damage. And the third tier reduces the relic energy cost by 50%. This already costs 25 energy. This is going to cost 12.5 when you use it. Your next skill here is your passive Frost Skin. Slowly form a second skin of armored ice, preventing all damage from a single hit. Frost Skin recharges automatically every 70 seconds. You can increase that rate per point spent in this as well. This means that you'll be able to use it a lot sooner, which is going to be a massive help for you, especially against big bosses if they get too close and you take a hit you don't want to have. Your third row here has another active skill called Ice Golem. This will summon a massive Ice Golem with 200% of your maximum health for 60 seconds. His attacks are 150% weapon damage as ice. If it's already summoned, instead the command is used to teleport it to your location, then slam the ground with a powerful strike dealing 600 weapon damage as ice. That is absolutely massive, especially because it's a melee. This keeps you out of the fight. At tier 1, Ice Golem gains a chilling aura. That means he's going to slow them around you. At tier 2, it's going to slam for a larger area and freeze the enemies in place so you can really lay on the damage. And at tier 3, it summons icicles around it at time. This is fantastic for your ability to really keep the damage away from you and also really take it to your enemies. Your next ability is your passive called Larger Bores. Cold gets in easier through bullet holes. That is also hilarious to read because that is not something I'd expect to read here. Cluster of flying sharpened icicles ahead, dealing 40% weapon damage to the first enemy hit. This is synergized specifically with rifle or pistol. So if you're using this Coldheart class and you are not utilizing rifle or pistol, you are not able to use the skill. So I highly recommend to not pick it up unless you're using rifle or pistol. It will increase attack damage, the basic attack damage, by up to 50%, increase relic generation by up to 25%, and chance on basic hit to fire an icicle up to 25% as well. Your next tier has your next passive called Breaking Point. When Frost Skin breaks, unleash a Frost Nova, dealing 100% weapon damage, freezing all enemies for 1 second. Each point in this will increase your maximum health and Frost Nova damage. This will work perfect with your Frost Skin ability. If you have Frost Skin, this is a must-have. Your next ability is Snowstorm. Summon a snowstorm around you that drains your relic energy, lasting until relic energy is depleted. The snowstorm deals 100% weapon damage per second as ice and chills nearby enemies. When active, you and your nearby allies deal 25% more damage and gain 5% chance to freeze enemies for 2 seconds. Because it's an active skill, you get tiers, and who doesn't love the tier bonuses? This one is massive, with tier 1 giving your snowstorm aura a bigger size. The second tier, 25% off your relic energy cost. And tier 3, you critically hit frozen enemies while snowstorm is active. That is a massive damage amount. Now, snowstorm plus that golem, you're dealing a ton of damage. In your final tier here, you have Cold Front. Create a localized winter storm all around you for 10 seconds. The snowstorm drops razor sharp icicles from above that deal 330% weapon damage as ice per hit. Cold Front can only be used after spending 200 relic energy. Now this is great because you have Snowstorm right before it. If you pick up Snowstorm, you can use Cold Front a lot of times, I'm assuming, just because of the amount of energy you're spending. Now, because this is inactive, like I said, you have your tier bonuses. The first one, it unleashes glaciers to knock enemies back. The second tier, freezes all enemies for 3 seconds on active. And the fourth tier, Cold Front fires more icicles. Now this is huge. If you're freezing them for 3 seconds and you have Snowstorm active, you're dealing crits one after another after another. This is massive damage, and you cannot have one without the other, in my personal opinion here. I would have them in a heartbeat for that massive critical damage. Your final passive here is Energizer. This again, like all others, increases your relic energy charge rate by 5% per point up to 25%. So what did you guys think about this video with both Blood Drinker and Coldheart? I hope I was able to give you some good information on these, get you some ideas in your head that you can think of maybe while you're at work, while you're in class, while you're on the road, if you're listening to this on your phone. Really get some ideas for how you're best going to build your relic and your class. I'm really interested to see what combinations you come up with. There's quite a few out there you can choose from, and I plan to really try some intricate ones here as time goes forward. Now, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. In my next video, I plan to feature Electrode, and I'm going to follow that up by also doing Flaming Destroyer in the exact same video, similar to the style I did this in. Once those videos are done, I have a video I plan to make on my review of Torchlight 3 on the Nintendo Switch. I've been reading a lot of back and forth recently over the Switch release. I haven't bought it yet. I will be buying that. I want to make this review as unbiased as I possibly can, and by spending my own money, that's going to give me the way to do it the most. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I look forward to showing you my future content, a review of Torchlight 3 on the Switch, maybe even some streams from the Switch as well, since I have it sitting right here beside me. I am moving in a few weeks, so if the content starts to become less and less until about the 14th of November, please know that will come back to normal time once the moving process is complete and I'm in my new office. I hope you guys had a great time with this video. And I hope you come back for more Torchlight 3 content, as well as other dungeon crawler RPGs. I can't wait to show you guys what I have coming down next few months. As always, guys, stay safe, have fun, and keep on gaming.